So this is the petting sequence. The first thing you have to do is get the cat comfortable with having your hand next to the face or near the face. The hand always has to come in from below the chin, and in order to guarantee that, I always make sure my knuckles are scraping the floor. Now, to get the hand close to the face of the cat, it's a combination of pushing the hand forward, that way ensure I'm scraping against the floor and it's coming in below the chin. But you also bring the cat closer to the hand by luring the cat with a treat. That way, if a cat is very scared with the hand approaching his face, you can then have the cat be the one to approach the hand, which is less scary for the cat. Once the cat is oblivious to your hand being next to his or her face, the next step in the petting sequence is what I call feather touch. You're going to then, it may take a couple days, it may take one day, a few days, a week. It all depends on the cat's stage. And the next step is going to be what I call feather touch. And you're going to use the backs of the fingers, like right here. And the way I bring up the hand is I'm not lifting the hand much, you'll see. I'm bringing the cat's face down with a treat to be near the hand, and I just curl up the back of the fingers so that the backs of my fingers, I barely have to lift up to feather touch the cheek. And feather touch just means that the backs of my fingers are skimming or touching the fur of the cat, but you don't really feel the skin of the cat underneath. After feather touch, if the cat is completely oblivious to it, so let's say we're at feather touch now, the next step is what I call touch the skin of the cat. And you're just taking the backs of the fingers and you're gonna press in slightly on the cheek so that you are touching the skin of the cat, but you're not applying pressure to the skin, right? So it's a very imperceptible movement of your hand because it's really quarter inch. Your hand is already like that from the feather touch, and you're just like literally pushing in a quarter inch so that you're touching the skin of the cheek but not applying pressure. Now, whenever the cat looks scared or hesitant, you just freeze. Just don't move and then lure the cat back with the treat. So I bring the treat lower to get his face to the right position. After the cat is oblivious to that, so you're coming in, you're pushing in, you're going up a little bit, bringing his head down closer to your hand. You do feather touch for a second or two, and then from there you do the touch skin. Then from the touch skin, you're going, once the cat is oblivious to that, it may take a couple days again, you will then move on to light pressure. So it's also so perceptible, like maybe quarter inch again. You're touching the skin and you're just applying a light pressure to the skin. And every time you start again in the next session, you're not going to go straight to touch skin. You're going to go through all of the steps leading up to it. And depending on the stage of the cat, you may hang out at each stage for like 10, 15 seconds, or it may literally be a few seconds the way I did it. After the cat is used to touching and applying light pressure to the skin, we're going to then next push in, come up, feather touch, touch skin, apply pressure, and the next step is we're going to use the back of the fingers to gently pet the cat. And if you see, ideally I like people to pet the whole body of the cat, but here we want to keep it a little bit shorter just because we want to make a very small movement on our part. And it's a very slow pet. Bring him back down. See how my hand froze? I bring him back down. Don't pull back that hand at all. If they get scared, that'll scare them more. You just freeze. And I'm going to do light petting with the back of my hands. You really want to create a strong foundation so that each time you go through a step in the petting sequence, I'd really like you to do it for at least a couple of days, sometimes a week, just so the cat is totally totally used to that step before you move on. If you rush the steps, then the cat will actually not get to a point where they're completely comfortable with full-on petting because the foundation is not strong. So once the short petting is something that the cat is oblivious to, so you're going through all the steps every single time. So you do the short petting. Bring the cat in closer. He's a little far away, so I'm going to bring him closer to me so that I'm not reaching my hand so far, which can be scary for the cat. Bring the cat closer to you instead. I'm doing the short petting. Once they're oblivious to that, then you can extend it and make it a long pet. Come, Bobby. Come back. And then I go back in, make it a long pet, down the body. Come on, Bobby. Long pet. Bobby's not as comfortable yet with the long pets as I would want a cat to be, but let's say he is comfortable with it already. Then you can switch to the palm of the hand. And again, you're always going to start from the very beginning and go through all the steps. But then at that point, then you can switch to the palm of the hand. The 2 steps that's going to take the longest, that you may need a whole week for, is the cat's cheek near your hand. You're going to take the longest because that's the first time they have the hand near the cheek. And then the next longest is going to be full body pets because you really want them super comfortable with that before we switch to the palm petting. And again, this is very light. I'm just barely touching his skin. And I'm going slowly, and they're always long strokes.